What's happening, friends? Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and on this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and economics. So if you like those topics, be sure to like and subscribe. Today, originally, I had a video planned on some awesome projects that fuse Metaverse and gaming with DeFi, but given this pretty significant Bitcoin dip we saw today, instead I'm going to address that, and then I'm also going to talk about four that I see being very significant going into the next few months of this year. So first, let's get into this Bitcoin dip. So as you can see, Bitcoin crested 69,000. Incredible. Earlier today, and then it dropped in the span of a few hours, first gradually and then suddenly, all the way down to around $62,800. And if you're looking at this chart right now, you'll see, well, that would have been incredible to have it at that point, even just a few days ago. The 7th, the 6th, it was far below that, around 60,000. And so we need to put things in perspective. But I really want to address this because, first, when crashes happen in crypto, and this isn't really a crash. Yeah, this is a dip. Because of leverages and liquidation, you can see that it starts gradually, like I said, it dropping 1,000 in an hour, 1,500 an hour, and then people start to get liquidated, and it can crash by 10% or more very, very rapidly, okay? And if you're new to the crypto space, you started investing in the summer after the May crash, then it's important to know this because when things do crash majorly, and that does happen in crypto, you might not even have a chance to take profits. You might be away from your computer for an hour and you come back and then your entire portfolio is 20% lower. And because if Bitcoin crashes 10%, most cryptos will crash 20%. That's just how it works. The other thing I want to say is because I've seen a lot of comments on Twitter that are concerning, and this channel's gotten big enough now that I feel obligated to give my input on this. If you feel like the world is ending today because of this dip in Bitcoin, then when we have a bounce, and we probably will have a bounce, it's okay to take risk off the table. It's okay to take profits, especially if you're up 5x, 8x, 10x this year. You may be up even more. Taking profits doesn't mean you have paper hands. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make it. Most of us are here to secure a better financial future for ourselves and our family. So there's no shame in taking profits out. That's what we're all here for. And it doesn't mean that you're taking money necessarily, just keeping a bank account either. You could pay off debt with it. There's some great stablecoin farms I've covered on this channel where you can earn 20% or more on your stablecoins, or you can invest in yourself, right? You could start a business, learn a skill. You can be your own 100x gem. For example, I'll be perfectly frank, I've taken not much, but a little bit of profit out over the past week or so because this channel has grown from 100 subscribers in August to almost 2,000 now. So it's time for me to invest in some better equipment and editing software to make higher quality videos. And I view that as an investment in myself so I can build an actual high quality educational resource for DeFi and cryptocurrency. So that's really all I want to say about that. The world's not ending, and don't be afraid to take some profits, guys. There's no shame at all in that. But with that being said, I don't think the bull run is over. I think this is just a slight blip, hopefully. And I think there's four narratives that are going to be really big going into the next 4 months. And I've got to give a shout out to my buddy Gojo Crypto on Twitter. You should definitely give him a follow because he sort of crystallized these narratives into a post, and then I modified them a bit, but I got to give him some credit there. So the first narrative is Polkadot. Polkadot parachain auctions are finally kicking off. If you are not familiar with Polkadot, Polkadot is a layer 0 protocol, so other chains are built on it. It strives to be sort of a base layer that other chains known as parachains can be built on. And Polkadot was founded by Gavin Wood, who was one of the co-founders of Ethereum, was really the original technical brains behind Ethereum. He invented Solidity, the smart contract programming language that Ethereum is built on, and then subsequently left the Ethereum project to build Polkadot. And it's been years in the making, and finally the Polkadot parachain auctions are launching, and they kick off tomorrow, November 11th, 2021, and then you can see the next one will be in a week. One after that will be another week. So this is going to be a major. This has been anticipated by people who have been in cryptocurrency for years. It's finally here. And so I think looking at Polkadot projects, looking at things that are being built on parachains, looking at parachains themselves, both on Polkadot and Kusama, like Moon River, which I've talked about on this channel, I think that's going to be a very strong narrative. And I know there are some people whose entire investment strategy in crypto right now is solely based around Polkadot. That's not me, but you could make a strategy solely based around Polkadot if you so chose. The next narrative that I think is going to be really powerful is alternatives to Ethereum. Anyone who's tried to use Ethereum recently knows that it is borderline unusable. The fees are through the roof. To make a swap on Uniswap right now, it often costs $150, sometimes more. It's completely unsustainable. And maybe Ethereum 2.0 will come out at some point, but in the meantime, people are looking for alternatives. And I think that that's going to be a major narrative. And three in particular that I think a lot of people are going to be looking at are Solana, Avalanche, and Terra. These seem to be the front runners right now. There's some other strong ones like Phantom, like Harmony, like Elrond. The list, I could keep going. There's even more. But it seems to me right now that these are the three that are getting the most attention. And to call out some quick pieces of news that came out with these, Brave browser, which I'm using right now. Brave browser is a privacy-focused browser. I believe it's the third largest internet browser now. But you earn basic attention token for using the Brave browser. And Brave has now announced that they'll integrate with Solana. So right now, all of their dApps are built on Ethereum, but a lot of the things that they build are focused around microtransactions, and that doesn't work so well when someone has to pay maybe $30 to $50 just to send money. So they're looking to integrate Solana instead, and I think that's probably a really good fit for what they do. And by the way, if you don't use Brave, definitely check it out. I've been using it since, not as early as some people, maybe since March, and I've earned about $100 just from basic attention token, because from viewing ads in the browser, you earn cryptocurrency. Another major news for Solana, one of the Reddit co-founders announced a $100 million initiative to fund Web3 social media on Solana. So that is huge, right? That's a major internet entrepreneur who's investing his name and efforts and money into building platforms on Solana. Avalanche, like I mentioned, I think will be another strong contender. And I went over in my video earlier this week a lot of metrics that point towards Avalanche gaining some major adoption. Today we also had the news that Tether is launching native USDT on Avalanche. I personally prefer UST as my stablecoin of choice, but Tether is the largest stablecoin, and they're somewhat selective in which networks they issue Tether on. They actually don't have it on many networks, so the fact that they chose Avalanche is a sign that they think Avalanche is an important network that will be here to stay. And then, like I mentioned before, I think Terra is going to be a major contender in the layer 1 space as well. Hundreds of protocols will be launching in the next few months on Terra. So that's the second narrative. And then the third narrative is Metaverse and gaming. So I don't cover that as much on this channel. Like I mentioned, I have some gaming DeFi fusion projects that I was looking at. But with Facebook rebranding their name to Meta and talking about Metaverse, and then the Microsoft CEO just last week talking about Metaverse and Teams and Xbox, I think Metaverse is here to stay, and Metaverse to me implies in some form digital ownership, which implies NFTs. So looking at Metaverse projects, and a lot of them have come up a lot already, but looking at Metaverse projects, looking at gaming projects, looking at gaming finance projects, I think it's tough to go wrong with those. And again, even if the big ones, Axie Infinity has done incredible numbers, Sandbox has done incredible numbers, that doesn't necessarily mean the run's over. So do your own research and decide whether you think that there's still room to improve. But the other thing to consider is that there could be smaller projects, right? You could become a Metaverse expert and find smaller projects. I don't cover them so much on this channel because that's just not my thing. But I think this is going to be a major narrative going into the next few months. And then the final and fourth narrative that I think is going to be really big is DeFi 2.0. So DeFi 2.0 is kind of this nebulous term that's come up the past few months to describe the new cast of DeFi projects that have become popular, I would say, really since the end of the summer. And a couple of things that these tend to have in common is, one, they usually try to solve some of the problems that came up with the first round of DeFi projects from last year and then earlier this year. One of those problems being that a lot of times those projects pay out their governance token to incentivize people to put liquidity on the platform, and which then devalues their governance token and really gives people no loyalty to the platform. So because of this, a lot of these platforms, like Olympus, like Wonderland, own their own liquidity. So that's one thing. And if you talk about Olympus DAO and Olympus DAO forks, those are all DeFi 2.0. Another problem that a lot of these projects strive to solve is that they want to give their tokens utility. If you look at a lot of the original DeFi projects from last year, Uniswap, for example, their tokens don't actually have that much utility. They're mostly governance tokens. And so the DeFi 2.0 tokens tend to actually be a bit more useful and give some more value to users. A few other DeFi 2.0 projects are Abracadabra Money and Popsicle Finance. Those are both projects that were created by Danielle Esta. So all of his projects, Time, Abracadabra, Popsicle Finance, those are all DeFi 2.0, and I think those all play into this narrative. And those sorts of projects I'll definitely be covering on this channel. And then you can see Popsicle Finance right here. So those are the narratives I think are going to be big. Polkadot, Ethereum alternatives, so other layer ones, Metaverse, DeFi 2.0. That's all I got for today. Let me know what you guys think about the market conditions. Let me know what you think about these narratives. Which of these are you bullish on? Are there any narratives that I missed? And as always, if you have protocols that you want me to talk about on Yield Farm Friday, drop a comment down below. Every Friday, I cover 5 to 7 yield farms that viewers requested or that I came across. And by the way, because I've actually had a few projects reach out to me in the past week asking how they can pay to be covered on my analysis, I just want to say I don't do promoted videos. None of the projects in Yield Farm Friday or in other videos have paid me to do videos. I only do things that I find interesting to you or, like I said, that people request. That's all I got. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.